I am super excited to be here. So I graduated from SLCC in 2015 with my associates in business management. And my career at Granite Credit Union, I've been working there for 36 years. Okay, which you don't hear very often of people staying at a organization that long. And believe me, if I did not enjoy it, I would not be there. So I think I've gotten tons of opportunity. I feel like I make a difference in people's lives with what I do. And I honestly think that everybody, no matter what your career choice, even if you move around, that you can actually find purpose in what you're doing, and how that makes a difference for someone. And when you find those things, that actually is pretty magical. So I'm grateful for SLCC for the flexibility I had of going to school and working at the same time. I ended up getting my bachelor's at Westminster, and I actually had some professors that taught at SLCC that were up at Westminster, so it was awesome. Um, just to tell you a little bit about my journey to start out, I started at Granite Credit Union as a part-time teller, and at that time, I really had wanted to be an attorney. Okay. And I started out with this job, and I didn't have this intention necessarily of staying at the credit union. But when I did, I found out that I really enjoyed it. And I kept getting promoted, different opportunities. And I started out as this part-time teller, I ended up being a full-time teller, and then I was like, oh, I got to do direct deposit and payroll specialist, and I thought that was super interesting. And so along the way, one thing that I think has been benefited me in my career, and I think it can be beneficial to all of you, is that when you get responsibility or you get instead of looking at it as you have to do something or they're making me do something, this is really cool. I get the opportunity to do something or learn something that I didn't know before. And because of that, I think that's why I got more and more opportunities to do different things. And I've pretty much held every position in the credit union except for CEO, and I haven't been a chief financial officer. But I've done lending and helped people with their finances, was over operations. And in 2021, I became VP of Business Development. Before that, I was Chief Operating Officer of the credit union since 2009. But in 2021, we got a new CEO. And he actually sat down with all of us on the executive team. So he was actually part of our executive team. So he came internal, but he sat down with all of us and he was like, what are you passionate about? And I thought that is awesome. What a great question. Instead of being like, okay, well, now I'm in charge and you're going to keep doing what you're doing. It was like, what are you passionate about? And I told him everything. And he was like, yeah, that's true. You are pretty passionate. And so, but one thing I really did discover is I'm passionate about credit union and helping people with their finances and building relationships and networking. And so that's where I became VP of Business Development and Community Engagement. And it's been a fantastically fun journey. When I was over operations, I had about 65 people under me, and a lot of all the branches, security, compliance, all of those things. And so this was a totally different, a different track, but it was exciting and invigorated me. And I have an employee working for me called the Director of Community Relations, and then a Business Development Officer. So we're a mighty power team of 3. Going for what I was over before. And when you have transitions like that in your life, that can feel pretty significant because I think a lot of us identify for ourselves, like what we do for a living. When you meet someone, it's like, oh, what do you do? A lot of times it ends up being about your job or your career. And I think people are just so many more things than that. And it was like, okay, now I'm not over that. How do I make this really powerful? And so we started out and did a lot of community events and teaching financial literacy and doing networking events. And I can tell you that first like year, me and the community relations director, we were like, man, we're wore out. We're doing a million events. We're doing a lot of hours, and we feel exhausted. Like it's fun, but even for extroverted people, all that interaction was just so much. And we're like, how can we get more people involved at the credit union and give them opportunity to network, to volunteer, because those things really create engagement and help boost morale in business. And even if they don't do all of the things, if every person does one or two events, we'll be more effective, more efficient, and will help our staff grow and network and get that engagement. So this last year, I was calculating the numbers for our end of year. We do a fiscal year. Our year ends on September 30th and starting the year. And then we do this employee award recognition dinner in January, and we celebrate all the things that we did the prior fiscal year. And one of those things is we award a community engagement award to one employee who does the most volunteer hours and does most events. And so I was calculating numbers for that, but when I looked at it, I was like, oh my gosh, we have 135 employees at Granite Credit Union, and we had 78 people participate in different community and networking events. And we did over 900 hours of volunteer work. And I was like, wow, that was super cool. But because of that, we got a lot of business from that. But our purpose, we didn't go in there. And, each time you do an event or you reach out to community, yes, we want to be profitable and we want to have business. We want to get accounts. We want to get loans. But our purpose to go in there is to connect with people, figure out what they need, and having the ability to have that audience, it's really powerful. So I think business comes naturally when you are networking and volunteering and meeting the needs of people. That sometimes they don't even know they have that need. But we had 78 employees do that, over 900 hours. And our one employee that she doesn't know she's the winner yet, but she actually did 73 hours on top of her pay. And one of the things that Granite Credit Union does that I love, and I think this is really good for employers, some of you are entrepreneurs, and some of you may be leaders at your business and managers. But one of the greatest things I think that we have is kind of a soft benefit, if you will, is we pay 2 days of volunteer pay, where an employee can volunteer at a nonprofit or philanthropy of their choice outside of work, and we'll pay them. And that's super fun because then you're like, gosh, my business cares about what I care about. And, there's things that people want to do. So we do that, but this employee did 73 hours. And one thing that we'll do too is we'll pay overtime for volunteer hours if they do credit union events, because we know that it's important for our members and potential members to see the faces of the people that are at those branches in those areas. It's super fun for people to interact and see those things. So my advice to you guys is honestly look at things as opportunities as much as possible. Doesn't mean you're not going to have bad days or stressful days or be like, oh man, I got to do this too. But I honestly will tell you that will pay back to you tenfold when you are having that attitude, and at the same time give other people opportunity when you have the ability to do that. Any questions about like my journey? one of the things that as my business development role, it's been really fun too. I've gotten to be on a lot more boards and involved in different organizations. I will tell you guys, as business leaders and business owners, one of the best things that you can do, your networking dollars are limited, right? You want to have the most impact for that. So chambers of commerce are a really great place to make connection, do your networking, even have volunteer opportunities. But at the end of the day, you're going to build those relationships and they will refer to your business, you'll refer to their business, and it's amazing what you can do with those connections. And honestly, you can join them pretty reasonably. Like Chamber West is an example. We do a lot with them, and it's only $350 to join that chamber. But they do probably, I would say, 100 events a year that obviously you can't do everything, but there's plenty of opportunity to connect and also be on committees. And I would encourage you to do those things as well. Let's see.
And Mary, would you think that they might have scholarships for students or maybe something along those lines?
Yes, actually, they will do like a discount for students. The other thing is, I would say look for opportunities through internships. For real, that is a big one. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm ignorant. What exactly is like a chamber of commerce?
What Chamber of Commerce? Okay, so that is a organization that it's for business, for businesses. Okay, and so they will help advocate for businesses through like legislative affairs. They will bring businesses together to do like conferences, and they'll have leaderships come in and talk. They'll have like networking luncheons. As an example, one of the things December 2nd that we're doing for Chamber West, they're going to have a pickleball tournament for 2 hours with business owners coming together. They're going to have people that teach them how to play pickleball if they don't know. And you think, my gosh, this is business and you're getting paid for it? Yes, it is business because people you can play with, people you can volunteer with, you start to build that trust and that care and that connection. And I'm telling you, to your bottom line, that is magical. Like it's amazing how much business, and then your profits will go up, your engagement in business goes up, and when you are over employees, if you give them those opportunities too, you're making your employees more confident. And one thing that a Chamber of Commerce can do too is they can connect you with other businesses. So you can say, hey, this is my business. I want an opportunity to promote that. And can you share like this ad that I'm going to have? They'll do ribbon cuttings, grand openings. They bring people together and really make a big celebration. They usually have newsletters and work with news outlets to promote business.
Yeah.
So there is some free options out there as well. So sometimes they don't have chambers of commerce in cities. They may have a business council. An example of that is Mill Creek Business Council. They don't do a chamber of commerce. It's quite similar to a chamber of commerce, but it's free. No money to join. And you may think, oh, well, what if my business isn't in this area? Or what if I don't live in that area? That is okay. If you think that you're going to do business in that area, it can be really important to join multiple chambers. The other thing that's out there sometimes is a network group. So they have a network group called BNI. There's a lot of different chapters. It does cost money to join, but that connections from it and the responsibility of people to refer business and to do one-on-ones can be very powerful. I would say whatever you do for your networking and your volunteering, be thoughtful about what you're trying to do for business, what audience you are trying to attract, and because our dollars are limited, make the most impact with those dollars, if that makes sense. Because sometimes you can get caught up in, oh, I need to do everything. No. what is it that works for you? And it's kind of fun. In my department, we have this rule now that if we've never done the event before or we've never done the networking thing before, we will be curious and we will try it for the lowest price option. So we may not be the main sponsor, but if we could table for $100, we'll do a table and we'll see what we get. And then we take notes and follow up with those results. So I think sometimes when people are doing business, they think you have to go all in. And really, you don't. I think it's really good to explore and then make sure you're taking notes of the outcomes that you put into it, because that is really powerful. You can make the most out of your advertising dollars, your networking dollars, and how you give back to the communities you're in. Okay, not helpful?
Yeah, okay. So let me just give it an example of things that a business would be involved in with the chamber would be, like you said, sponsoring things like a golf tournament or an awards lunch or things like that, where you would be a sponsor when you have a business, or if you're just starting out your career, you would attend.
Yes, absolutely. And you may even do both. So let's just say for an example that you are working for a business and your role is to do business development or networking, or maybe your boss is like, hey, I'd like to send you to this networking lunch. I've heard about it. Be good for you to learn. If you could even approach your boss about sponsoring, and sometimes like those luncheons is a good way to sponsor because it's like $500 for a company. And then what they do is they promote that luncheon and say, sponsored by, our case would be Granite Credit Union. And then you get opportunity to do a commercial in front of the group as well. And so those things are beneficial. But even if you don't sponsor, Whitney's exactly right. Going to those luncheons is powerful. You're going to sit at the table with people that I would encourage you, don't sit by people that you know all the time. This is really important, okay? Because you're going to make those connections, exchange information. And I think LinkedIn's a really great way to do that. If you actively use LinkedIn, some people have business cards, but some people don't. So your LinkedIn profile is a really great way to exchange information and stay in contact. But I would encourage you to not always sit by the people that you know, even though it's comfortable and fun, or at least have a rule of after 30 minutes or an hour, you're gonna switch. Because I know sometimes those things can feel a little awkward or uncomfortable. Let's see. I'm gonna switch here. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about me as far as this is what I'm grateful for. I figured for the month of November and Thanksgiving coming up. These are my kitties. I love them. I think fur babies are the best. This is my daughter and her boyfriend, and then my son and my daughter-in-law. And I just think one of the things that's made me successful, I feel like in my role, is having a gratitude attitude. And sometimes I think when we feel like the world can be heavy, things can be stressful, and we have a lot on our plates. And gratitude is actually one way that you can, that it actually physically changes the brain chemistry by being grateful. And it can be for, whatever it is, simple things. But I think meditation practice is super helpful in business. Like in the morning to set your mood straight. And this is, personally, I think it's good too. But I feel like we're most successful when we have we're working towards things with business. And this is even if you don't own a business. What are the goals that you have? What are the things you try to achieve? And I think starting out with the meditation practice and having that grateful attitude is a way to set you up for success, especially at the beginning of the day. So let's talk about volunteering and networking. I feel like these two things together are honestly magic. And there's no other way to explain it. It's obviously not doing magic, but the results are magical. So to maximize the impact of networking and volunteering initiatives, businesses should take an integrated approach that aligns these activities with organizational goals. So fostering a culture of engagement and prioritizes strategic investments in employee development and community involvement. One of the things this last fiscal year that we started, my boss, he does this, all of us do one-on-one coaching with our bosses. And I think it's so good, monthly coaching, and that replaced our evaluations as well. So it's this monthly coaching, and then we have goals for everybody over the organization. But one of the things that came up during one of our coaching sessions was that he was skip coaching another employee in a different department. And she said, I really feel like I need help networking. And she's like, can you ask Mary to run a networking group internally and teach us how to network? And so he brought that up to me, and I'm like, I'd love that. That would be so fun. And so we started what's called Elevate, and we have quarterly networking group things internally. We did like a LinkedIn profile class. We've done like just getting to know you kind of class, and you think, oh, you work together. But it's really important for people and teams internally to get to know each other. And we've given them lots of opportunity to go to outside networking events and volunteer opportunities, and to see the growth in those employees and the confidence of them with their own work, and even how they talk to our members. They feel so much more confident in themselves and talking to members about their finances, that we're just like, this is definitely a win. So I think that fostering that culture of engagement is huge. Turnover can be a big deal. And I don't know if any of you worked at a place that's had a lot of turnover. It's so hard on the employees that stay, right? And then trying to train them and get the new people up to speed, it's really challenging. So this is the benefit of that. So what's volunteering? By giving back, not only are you helping the community, but you're also benefiting yourself. Studies have shown that volunteering and contributing to your community positively impacts your health. It reduces stress and increases positive emotions, decreasing your risk for physical and mental health conditions. So this is good for your mental health and your physical health. And I don't know if you've ever felt like really down, like things aren't going your way, and then you go and help someone else, and all of a sudden you're like, you know what, I'll keep my problems. I will do this again because it makes me feel better. And it doesn't mean that the world's perfect, but it's great. So some of the benefits. So corporate volunteering is more than just a feel-good activity. It's a strategic investment that enhances brand reputation, boosts employee morale, and fosters skill development, contributing to a positive bottom line. So it's good for your personal growth, but it's good for your professional growth. And these are just some of the pictures of things that we've done with the community. So for us, obviously, we're a financial institution and we want people to be financially sound. So this is Granite Transition Services. So these are adult handicapped kids that are coming in, and they do a financial literacy class and a bank tour. And we actually run like a little store. They get to, use fake money and buy swag and stuff like that. But it's amazing. We've done this with this one group 3 years in a row, and their knowledge of their finances has increased exponentially. Same with this is where we're at a coat drive, and we had a basketball group come and help these kids. And you think, gosh, what do all those things have to do with the financial institution? I can tell you that when you are giving back to the community in the footprint of your business, people want to do business with you. They actually say that it increases your business by 40% just by doing community involvement, letting people know that you care about what they care about. Networking isn't just about connections, it's a strategic asset that provides access to resources, opportunities for collaboration, and valuable market insight, ultimately driving business success. So this past year, Granite Credit Union ended up with 7.5% membership growth. And like financial institutions across the nation, their average growth was 5%. So we were like, wow, this is crazy. Now, obviously, I can't attribute all of this to community involvement and networking, but I will tell you it's played a big part into it. And we actually we had five goals that the entire credit union, like everybody was responsible for. There's loan growth, deposit growth, membership growth, our income, and our efficiency. And we actually exceeded all of those goals because like working together, but a big part of that was doing this community engagement and involvement. It really brought people to the credit union. And even when we're out and about, people will just say, "You're always there." And I'm like, that's our tagline. But I think networking is huge. And it's not just, it isn't just a business thing. It is actually building those relationships.
Mary, I have a question on that. So with your marketing spend or your budget that you've allocated toward the event, how do you tie that budget toward markers of success? So how do you say, we brought in this many dollars for the organization because we spent X amount on this event?
Absolutely. Well, okay, that's why we absolutely take notes after every event to evaluate what business we got from that. So one of the things that we do before the event, like prepping for it, we actually put what the event is, how many volunteers we're going to need, what swag we want to take, and what we're going to promote. And then we actually have promotion codes that we use. So that kind of helps us when someone uses that promotion code, we go, oh, they were at that event. And then also we do usually either a social media thing where if they sign up for social media, we'll either give them a swag item or a discount of some sort during that event. And then we also keep track of those promo codes and we're able to tell. Now it's not easy and it can feel like, what are we getting from this? One of the things that we've added this year, because for us, we feel like when you help people with their finances and they understand their finances, they're going to want to be with us for the life of their financial story. So for us, what we're asking for when we do a sponsorship, we're asking for an opportunity to teach financial literacy. And we haven't done that specifically until this year. And it's been really great. So one of the examples of this I'll tell you is that we decided to be the sponsor of a scholarship for the U of U Union building. It was a $5,000 sponsorship and then a $5,000 scholarship contribution, and they would match our $5,000 contribution. But I said, as part of this, I want to be able to teach financial literacy classes at the Union building. And before I'll sign this, they're like, okay, we'll do it. But how would I get that audience otherwise if I didn't ask? And luckily they said yes, but that's something that we are focusing on. So for us, we feel like that's a benefit when we teach that financial literacy because then we become the trusted face. And so we're tracking those things as well. But that's such a good, it's such a good question though, because sometimes this stuff is not necessarily black and white. And I think that's why really good notes after each and evaluate. And also if it wasn't successful, don't beat yourself up. It just isn't, there's no point. just to say, okay, I'm not gonna do that next time, or this is how we tweak it to be successful. That was a great question.
Hard to do.
Oh, it is hard. Okay. So effective communication with colleagues, superiors, and clients can build trust, facilitate cooperation, and lead to valuable opportunities. Relationships with others in the workplace with networking can help you find the connections you need to get ahead. And I think it's okay to be a little selfish. This isn't about everyone else. It's like, what are you trying to do? What do you want to accomplish? Trust and rapport are essential for any successful relationship. Increased efficiency, a harmonious relationship between employees and employers contributes to economic growth and development, which then leads to an increase in efficiency. And honestly, I don't know if you've ever worked at something where the efficiency was not great, and you're like, oh, why do I have to do it this way? So that can actually be part of the employee engagement. And it's like, how do you make things easier? And when you work together as a team, it's amazing what happens. When morale is high, employees tend to exhibit fewer negative behaviors and experience less workplace stress. And I think that one's true too. I always say that idle hands are the devil's workshop is true at work. Like people that aren't engaged and they aren't really doing a lot, they become naughty. It's like they're more gossipy, more backbiting, and it's not fun. It becomes a toxic work environment. So I think all these things really help prevent that. And then improve teamwork. Teamwork is usually a crucial skill to possess when followed with fostering strong and healthy relationships and colleagues. And then there's 3 types of networking. So you got your personal, that's your kindred spirits outside your organization who could help you with personal advancement. And we all need that. It's not just about your job or your career. Operational, people you need to accomplish your assigned routine tasks. And then you have strategic. And these are the people outside your control who will enable you to reach your organizational objectives. So I think all 3 of those types of networking are really important to be most successful. Okay, so benefits of networking. Employee engagement is a key driver of business performance and profitability. By providing networking opportunities and supporting volunteering experiences, organizations can cultivate a culture of engagement that leads to higher levels of employee satisfaction. I'm going to give you a couple of case studies. So this is Justin Leader and Nicole Leader. So Justin is the owner of JC Pro Design, and then Nicole Leader has her own esthetician company. But I'm highlighting Justin because I asked him, what is volunteering and networking done for your business? Justin owns a successful screen printing business. And it's amazing. I've known him now for, I think, 4 years. And the growth in his business has been exponential over the last 2 years. He's gotten very involved in networking and volunteering and done a ton of events at his business that were super fun, drew people there, and he got to show them all the cool screen printing stuff he creates. But this is what Justin said about volunteering. He goes, I always learn something when I volunteer. You never know who you're going to meet or impact. And then networking is the most effective form of advertising. I've met my largest customers at networking events. People I would probably never knew existed if it weren't for the networking. And then volunteering is not only good for your mental health and those that you are helping, it also shows people that you aren't self-focused or self-centered. Meeting people through volunteer projects immediately gives you rapport because you know you can trust them. And I think that's just powerful. And he didn't hear my presentation. He just said those things on his own. Let's see. Then I have Connie Zeller. She's Salty Bee Events, so she's an event planner. And Connie's amazing too. And I've known her for 3 years. When she started out her business, this was interesting. She was just like, oh my gosh, I've got to get out there. I'm an event planner, right? So she really started the networking. And today she was talking in our network group this morning. I belong to a group called the Rainmakers. And she said that this last year, she had tripled her business from the previous year. And she owed it all to volunteering and networking. And this is what she said in her personal life. I know that volunteering has helped others who have not had the same advantages that I have had. It makes me feel connected to my community when I volunteer. The professional benefits are too many to name. I have made connections with people who have referred me and my business to their network. There are many times when volunteering was unexpectedly helped me to earn money. During the pandemic, she said her business could have easily been shuttered. So at that point, she was a partnership owner in an event planning thing. And she said, because of the strength and quality of my network, I was able to survive and my business thrive. And as you know, can you imagine doing event planning during the pandemic? You have to get real creative, right? And so she did. There was virtual events. People really still wanted that connection. And it was kind of fun. One of the events that she did was actually with our Rainmaker group. Salt Lake Culinary Institute we made pizzas together. We did a cooking class, all from our houses on Zoom. And they had the stuff delivered to our houses. So, you had to be real creative. There was those virtual weddings and things like that. But she was able to survive. And then she talked about when she went to the American Cancer Society gala, there were other volunteers. So she was helping them with the gala. She met 2 other volunteers who made introductions to strategic partners of hers, and they're 2 of her biggest clients now. But she wouldn't have ever met them if she hadn't gone to that gala volunteering. So I think you just never know when those opportunities are gonna come up, and you'll want to be available for that. And then this is Diane Shea. So she retired as the owner of a cooking school, and she was just like, I know that I want to keep doing something, but I just am not sure what. So she created this blog, a food and nutrition blog, and it's so awesome. It's called the Utah Dinner Project. And she also helps you not waste food. Like you can do your leftovers, and she makes tasty meals and all these things. And she's fabulous. But Diana, she started volunteering for wasteless solutions. I don't know if you guys have heard of wasteless solutions. So they take food that is left over from events, and they repurpose it. So like the jazz games and fancy restaurants and things like that. Anyway, now Diane is working for Wasteless Solutions. This is like her second career. She absolutely loves it. So you don't know when those opportunities are going to arise. Okay, and then that's Cheryl Long. She owns, she's a partner in a life insurance foundation. But what happens with her is she gets to go around giving big fat checks out to people. So they pay their supplemental life insurance and they don't use it. After 20 years, this company gives back the money 100% because they insure that. But her business has grown exponentially because of the volunteering and networking she's done. So when you put the 2 together, you get magic. And volunteering is a great way to meet new people, especially if you're new to an area. It strengthens your ties to the community and broadens your support network, exposing you to people with common interests, neighborhood resources, fun and fulfilling activities. It gives you opportunity to practice and develop your social skills since you are meeting regularly with a group of people with common interests. Once you have momentum, it's easier to branch out and make more friends and contacts. And it also provides you opportunity to demonstrate your skills and work ethic in a real world setting, often leading to professional connections. And it also helps you explore your interests. If you don't know what you want to do, or that you may want to do something different, volunteering is a great way to explore that. Also internships, I totally say 100% internships. So tips for effective volunteering. Set your clear goals for volunteering and networking activities. I think sometimes we put so much pressure on ourselves to, okay, I gotta say this, I gotta be prepared with all these things to talk about. I think if you just go in knowing I want to meet one or two people, I'm going to get their contact information and be proactive and consistent in your efforts, show genuine interest and enthusiasm in others. Even if you're nervous, other people are nervous. They just want someone to reach out to them and to talk seriously. It's 100%. Everybody wants that. And then follow up and maintain those relationships. If you get their contact information, follow up with an email, say, hey, it was great to meet you. And if you remember something that they talked about, mention it specifically. Like, oh, it was so great to hear about your business, or, if you talked about a fun personal story, just mention that. That's real connection, and you're going to remember that person. And then overcoming challenges. Find out who's going to be at the event. Make sure they are the kind of people that can be prospective contacts for you. Network with intent. Don't go and sit with your best friend. And then don't arrive too early, because I think that can help build the anxiety. But, get there and like at the beginning, maybe that helps. But don't go too early, because you can get too anxious. Don't judge a book by its cover. When an open mind when it comes to meeting people. Don't fall into the habit of assuming anything about anyone simply on the basis of his or her look. And then you aren't going to an execution, so remember to smile. If you have the look of like, and just like people are like, what's wrong with them? Often people at networking events forget to smile. They are generally the people who don't like networking. Remember to smile often and smile sincerely. And then you can, have a little thing to talk about. Maybe there's a current event that's not political. And then don't just hang out with people you know. I honestly can't emphasize that enough. And then here's some resources, and I'll share these slides eventually with you guys for how you can network and volunteer. So these are essential pillars for personal and professional growth. Networking expands opportunities, fosters valuable connections, and open doors to possibilities, while volunteering cultivates empathy, skills, and a sense of purpose, enriching both individuals and communities alike. Embracing these activities not only enhances one's career trajectory, but also contributes to a fulfilling, impactful life journey. And I'll have some key takeaways for you. So networking as a strategic asset. It isn't just about making connections. It's an asset that provides access to resources, opportunities, and collaboration. Volunteering enhances brand reputation and employee morale. Corporate volunteering is more than just a feel-good activity. It's a strategic investment. And then employee engagement drives performance. Employee engagement is a key driver of business performance and profitability. And it also helps their growth. When you help them grow and then succeed, that's a win-win. And then an integrated approach for maximum impact. So when you put those things together, you're going to have a lot more movement forward in profitability and employee engagement and people knowing about your business. And a couple of more things that, at least personally for me, I think lead with purpose, find your purpose. This is big. Your career becomes meaningful when passion meets opportunity. We have to work a lot of hours in our life. Those should be enjoyable. Doesn't mean you won't have stressful days or hard days, but I'm telling you, you should enjoy most of them. And if you don't, this was my other piece of advice. Be outstanding or get involved elsewhere. It's called boogie. And I seriously believe this. It doesn't matter if you're in your dream job yet. It doesn't matter if you are like, I don't want to be in school still. I don't want to do this. Be outstanding wherever you are. Show up. And if you really can't do that, it doesn't mean quit your job and, call off. It means get involved elsewhere. Be really active in getting to that other place. But otherwise, show up because you never know who you're going to meet that can give you opportunity, or you're going to meet, you're going to be able to help. And I swear by that. And then build relationships. Networking is not transactional. It's meaningful connections. Serve your community, volunteering, build brand trust, strengthens business outcomes, grow with confidence, say yes to opportunities even before you feel ready. Say yes. And then partner with community-focused institutions. Credit unions provide guidance, education, and stability to help businesses grow. So if you want to come see me, I'd love to help you out with your business or consumer stuff too. Do you guys have questions?
I just wanted to point out for students, things like joining clubs on campus and going to campus events, then you can network with your peers. You're all in the same boat. You're earning a degree and really early on in your career.
I honestly would say do that. If you get the opportunity also to be like a teacher assistant or professor assistant or help with a class or a club, I do it. It's amazing who you will meet and who you connect to. And there are a lot of events out there for personal connection as well as professional. Also, Granite Credit Union, we do internships. And the last 2 years, we've done a couple of interns for the summer for our business development department. It's been absolutely fabulous. I've loved it. So also, if you're interested in an internship, you can reach out to me. That's through let's see, where's my info? If you want, and then I also will share these slides with Whitney. So,
Okay, thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much.
yeah, you got it.